There we go.
Let's go. How are you?
It's so nice. I'm good, good. It's so nice to officially meet you. I'm super excited for this interview.
Oh, this is a wonderful time with you that I will spend. It's a really good day.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Cool. I'm excited. I'm excited, man.
Yes. Let me introduce you to all our followers who will watch us in YouTube.
hmm Sounds cool. Sounds cool. Let's get it, man.
Yeah. And today, on Boxing on Sundays, I am joined by a dangerous, fast rising African combat athlete who is making serious noise across MMA, boxing, and grappling. He is undefeated in amateur MMA at 4-0 with 4 knockouts, 3 of them in the first round, and he owns one of the fattest TKOs in this division. This is one of the fattest TKO in history of MMA, a 30-second finish, a former regional top-ranked contender, a multiple gold medalist across promotions, and the current title holder at Titan Combat, plus a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt with an 8-0 semi-pro boxing run. This is a fighter who doesn't just win, he finishes. Welcome to the show, Sardoine Molisho. You are
So
welcome.
let's go. Thank you so much for having me, Andre. I really appreciate it. I'm super excited to talk to you.
When I look at your journey today, it's clear this didn't start overnight. Every dangerous fighter has a story that begins long before the medals, titles, and rankings. I want to go back to the way beginning before the fights,
Mm.
before the gym, before anyone knew your name. Those early years usually shape the mindset of a champion.
Mm.
I'm certain you are the future world champion in MMA.
Yes, sir, 100%.
What was your childhood like and what kind of kid were you growing up?
Yeah, it's a very ironic question for me, or rather, it's gonna be a very ironic answer. Growing up as a kid, I was actually very timid, you know what I mean? I was very small in stature, I was a very small kid. I really hated confrontation, so like anything concerning fighting, I genuinely was not there. But then I mean, well, yeah, that's like really cool because I grew up with a single mom, three other siblings. So growing up in that household, it was more a thing of my mom constantly protected us. So that savage nature, or like that masculine strong nature just wasn't instilled in me from a young age. So that led to me not being a very strong and confrontational person. That being said, I was an extremely talented kid. So with whatever I did, I always succeeded. Whether it was reading, whether it was school, sport, like I excelled in literally everything I did. So I naturally had potential to do whatever I wanted to do. Not to sound too arrogant, but then I just was born with a gift to, excel in everything that I did. So that led to me having a bit of a more cocky and arrogant personality, but not in the aggressive type of way. I was more of a pretty cocky person, if I can say it like that. You know what I mean? I didn't like start fighting, but I liked to show that I was the best at doing whatever it was, whether it was school, whether it was sports. I just love the feeling of portraying myself as superior than everyone else. It was just something that was I was just born with, honestly. Um, then yeah, it was just me and my three other siblings. I have an older brother, I have a younger brother and older sister as well. So I'm kind of the middle child. But yeah, that was more or less my childhood. I spent a lot of time playing soccer and hanging out with my friends. I only started fighting later on in like my teen years or so, so that wasn't in the picture. I actually wanted to become a soccer player, ironically, but then here I am knocking people out instead.
What is your favorite soccer team?
My
Barcelona
favorite.
or
Mm.
Real?
That's such a dangerous question for me to answer, man. I'm gonna start losing fans so quickly. No, man, I've always been a Barca fan, man. That's all I can say. I'm gonna leave it at that. Barcelona's always been a really good team of mine to watch.
I'm also Barcelona fan.
Let's
Barcelona,
go, Andre. Let's go. Let's go. So you're getting along already, man.
yeah. Barcelona, La Liga 2026 champion. Congratulations.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
I I really hope that Barcelona in 2027 will won the Champions League.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since we've won the Champions League, but let's see what's gonna happen next year.
Yeah. And who is your favorite soccer player of all time? Maybe Lionel Messi?
Nah, no, of all time. That's a very interesting question, man. Man, this is so okay. This is a bit of an underrated one, but I've always really liked Antoine Griezmann from France. Um, I liked him because of his cocky personality. You know what I mean? He's also a very small guy, but like he's so stylish. You know, with whatever he does, you know, with everything he does, he has that like cocky nation personality, and he does everything with like such flair and such style, which is something that I try to incorporate in my fighting as well. If you look at most of my fights, it's not just me getting in and throwing punches. You know, I make the art of brutality look beautiful. You know what I mean? When I'm boxing, people compare me to like a ballet dancer. When I'm in the cage in MMA, people say that my counter punching is beautiful. So that similarity is something that I've always been really attracted to in terms of making your sports into more of an art than an actual sport. So I've always really loved Griezmann in terms of doing that.
It's a pity that Antoine Griezmann didn't win the Champions League, but
True.
the, but the world champion 2018.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Andrew? Who's your favorite player?
My player, my favorite football player,
Hmm.
Lionel Messi.
Okay, fair enough. I feel like he's an all-time GOAT, man. It's hard not to have him as your favorite.
Oh, I think that number one in history of soccer is
Hmm.
Lionel Messi, or maybe Pelé.
Oh, that's also a really good one, eh? You
Yeah.
know, I feel like most of the new generation, you know, us new kids, we don't know Pele as much as you guys do because you guys grew up watching him and you guys, you know, saw everything that he's achieved. So that's why he's like such a legend to you guys. But with, you know, with us younger kids, we know that he did like so many great things, but we didn't actually see it. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's different with Messi because like everyone knows Messi. It's like he's a big household name. So like yeah, we all love Messi as well.
Uh, I'm not sure who is better, Pelé or Messi. Just Pelé is a three-time world champion.
True. He is. But like enough about soccer. Let's talk about fighting now. You know, let's give the people what they wanna hear about.
Yes. Next, I wanna talk about your first interest in fighting. When did you first feel interested in fighting or martial arts?
Mm. Okay, so this is a bit of a dark one for me, I'm not going to lie, because my story is not, you know, similar to other people. Like, it's not like I grew up fighting, or like I had a family, or like I had a family member, that introduced me to fighting. There's nothing like that. Um, Sorry, am I still audible?
It's good, it's okay.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. So when it comes to me and fighting, I was actually at home watching YouTube. Then I came across this YouTube channel called Whistle. So that YouTube channel it basically showed child prodigies in different sports. Their basic lifestyles, the training that they undergo, you know, all of that stuff. And then they ended up showing a few prodigy boxers. Then I saw the type of lifestyle that they were living, right? They had like five different coaches. They had their trainer schedules laid out for them. They had so many Instagram followers, and I was extremely envious of all of them. Because they had things that I didn't have growing up as a child, and then still they chose to do a sport, that was known as a poor man's sport back in the day. And they just do it so carefreely, and like that really struck a different type of nerve. I felt like, why should they have the rights to have all of these things that I don't have? And they still have even more than that. And then I just thought, what would happen if I was actually face to face with one of them inside the ring? What would I do to them? Then it just struck me, it's like, the boxing ring or the MMA cage is like one of the few places in the world where two people are equal. Your background doesn't matter inside the cage. The amount of money your parents have doesn't matter inside the boxing ring. When you're inside the ring, it's just you and your opponents. So I feel like coming to that realization made me think, oh shit, if I got the opportunity to fight one of these kids, I'd probably end up killing one of them, like I'd go for them. I'd want to take everything that they have. So that's what led to me considering fighting. So going into it, it was a mentality of I want what they have, or I feel like the world owes me something. The only way for me to get it is if I fight and take it from them by force. So that led to me getting more interested into fighting, researching a bit more about boxing. Because essentially the first sport that I did try was boxing. The plan was always to be a professional boxer. Started doing my own road work at home. At the time I didn't have a boxing gym, so what I would do is I'd get an old pair of 4-ounce boxing gloves. Then I'd start punching the wall. Ironically, so I'd be punching the wall in my room for hours and hours and hours until my knuckles started swelling up. They started getting cut up. They started bleeding. Then I'd go running every single morning. At that point in time, I didn't even have a gym at all. I didn't know anything about how boxing or MMA worked. I was just training by myself. And then, by the greatness of God, one of my uncles was like, "Yo," he called up my mom and he's like, "I see your son is really training by himself and is really getting into boxing. I know this one guy who has a gym. Why don't you go and take your son there?" And like literally, my mom brings the news to me, and she's like, "Sid, do you wanna go and check out this gym?" I swear it was one of the most happiest days of my life. And what makes it even better was the gym was like right next to my house. Literally one day I ran around like probably like around 10, 11 kilometers just looking for a gym and I couldn't find one. But there was literally one like right down the road of where I lived. But anyway, let me not ramble on. What happened was I went to the gym with my mom that one day. I met my current head coach, Roderick Kenner. And then, yeah, we took it from there, man. Haven't left the gym since then.
It's very, very interesting story. It's interesting to listen to you. Behind
Thank you.
every every strong fighter stands. I look on you. You is very, very strong. A
Thank you,
first
Anja. I
coach,
appreciate that.
a first coach who laid the foundation. That person
Mm,
usually teaches more than just technique. They
mm,
shape discipline and character. Your first coach is always a special figure in your story.
mm.
Tell me, please, about your first coach in MMA and what did he teach you the most?
Mm. Yeah, that's a very interesting question. So, the gym that I currently train at is Raw Combination. Our head coach there is called Roderick Kenner. He was a former UFC fighter as well, and current bare knuckle fighter, ironically as well. He's a boxing and MMA coach. So the plan was for me, I wasn't interested in MMA at all. I just wanted to box only. But then he kept persuading me to try MMA. He's like, Sid, you're so good at boxing, but try this, try this, try this, try this, try this. Then he's like, okay, Sid, maybe instead of thinking of MMA as its own martial arts, try to be like, think of yourself as a boxer that's doing MMA. Then I was like, you know what, coach? Okay, fine, let me try that. Then we ended up trying to do MMA. Then I ended up, falling in love with it as well. Then in terms of what my coach taught me, first of all, inside the ring, she really emphasizes on power and finishing fights. He really laid the foundation in me being a strong finisher. It's because of my current coach, like my first coach, that I'm such a finisher, even though at my weight division, it's notorious for going the long distance. My division is known for going for three fight, for 3 rounds or 5 rounds. No one finishes fights in my division. But then when I fight, I knock people clean out because of the type of style that my coach taught me. He emphasizes strong base, rotating your hips, good fundamentals, and knocking your opponents out. So essentially, it was like almost the perfect gym for me. You know what I mean? Because I started fighting because I wanted to take other people, I wanted to take what belonged to me, what I believe belonged to me. And only way I'd be able to do that is if I stood out and knocked people out. And that's exactly what he taught me. And then outside the ring, he taught me about the discipline and mentality it takes to actually be, a world-class fighter. Anyone can go to the gym, anyone can go to road work, but not everyone becomes a champion. So he keeps on instilling the mindsets in me as to you need to be different from everyone else. You need to do things that other people are not doing. You need to have a different type of mindset. You need to have, excuse me, you need to have a different type of style. So he really taught me that individuality is extremely important, especially in a sport, that's so filled with copycats. Everyone wants to do the same thing. Everyone wants to be a Mayweather now in boxing. Everyone wants to be a McGregor in MMA. He's really emphasized to me that I should do what feels natural to me and I should be my own person. I need to be a different breed. That's what's going to help me to stand out. That's what's going to get me to the world champion status. That's going to lead to me being the knockout artist that I know that I'm born to be. So yeah, that's the story of me and my head coach.
You know, the first coach is very,
Mm,
very important person in your life
mm,
because he laid the foundation.
mm.
Foundation. But first gym, it's in our memory forever. The first gym. The first
True.
gym is like a second home for a fighter. The
That's
smell
true.
of the mats, the sound of
Mm.
gloves, hitting backs, the atmosphere, it never leaves you. That
You can
place
see that.
usually
Yeah.
creates the fighter
I,
inside you.
mm, True, you can say that again. I agree with you 100%.
What do you remember most about your very first gym?
My very first,
Gym.
my very first dream in terms of fighting.
Yes, yes.
I'm the type of person where, and again, this goes way back to my childhood, is if I do something, I need to be the best at it. You know what I mean? I was the type of person, and I still am the type of person where as to, if I'm going to do something, I need to be the best at it. There's no point in me doing something if I'm not the best. So from the very first moment I decided I wanted to start boxing, I didn't say I want to be a boxer or I want to be an MMA fighter. I said I'm going to be a world champion. That different mentality is what separates me from so many different people. People start off by saying, no, I want to be a boxer or I want to be able to do this. I want to be able to do that. From the very beginning, Andre, I promise you, I told myself I'm going to be world champion. I'm going to be UFC champion. I'm going to be WBC champion. Whether that's boxing, MMA, whatever it is, I'm going to be the best at it. So that was my first dream, and my first dream is my current dream as well, to be champion. I know for a fact that I was born different from everyone else. I was born with a certain talent that not many people possess, and I will be champion. That's something that I've always believed, and I will continue to believe until it has been achieved.
Nobody, nobody forgets their first training session. It's often hard,
Mm,
uncomfortable, and unforgettable at the same
mm,
time. The first day usually decides if you stay to quit. By the
mm.
way, do you remember your very first training session in MMA? And
Oh,
and
shit.
how did you feel after your very first training session?
Oh my God. And this is so embarrassing because I was like, oh man, going into the gym on the first, like for my very first MMA session, in my mind, I was like, I'm gonna go to the gym and I'm gonna be better than everyone else. But no, man, I literally died on the first day. Like it was so crazy. The conditioning it takes to be a fighter is something that I really underestimated. The conditioning was extremely hard. And I just remember being on the floor and I'm like, what the hell did I just go through? And like I was with my mom on my first training session as well. Like my mom was seeing me lying down on the mats full of sweat and crying. I was like, oh my God, it was like crazy. But then what was really cool was I remember my first session was how my coach wrapped my hands, punched the bag. Because I didn't have any hand wraps, I didn't have any gloves. So he borrowed me his and like he wrapped my hands. Then like it felt so special. I was like, oh my God, I've seen this happen on TV so many times, so it's actually happening to me. So in a sense, that training session felt like the beginning of a dream that I didn't want to wake up from. You know, everything that I dreamt of in terms of me wanting to be a fighter, in terms of me wanting to be world champion, it all began at that specific moment. That first session was the beginning, to the road that I'm on now. But I remember going home and being like, bruh, I don't know if I can do this. It was so bad, Anja. I promise you. When I was walking home, I was so tired. Like I was walking with my mom, holding her hand. I'm like, Mom, I don't know if I can do this. But then I ended up going back, and here I am today, an undefeated prospect.
I have seen many fighters with good records, but very few with a 100% finish
Mm,
rate. What stands out about you is not just winning, but how quickly you end fights. That
mm,
tells me a lot about your mindset when you step into competition. You don't go in there to test the waiters. You go in
hell
there
yeah.
to take over immediately. You are real killer in the
Hell
cage.
yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Where did this killer instinct come from at such a young age? Tell me please
Mm.
about your killer instinct.
The killer instinct, as cliche as this is, I feel like it was just a born talent, a God-given talent. You know what I mean? I love to finish fights. There's nothing else I can say. From the first time I finished the fight, I remember the feeling and how strong I felt and how powerful I felt. And I told myself, I want to feel like this after every single fight. Seeing my opponents lying unconscious on the mat, seeing his corner being concerned about him, you know, having the whole crowd being stunned, having my coach's eyes being surprised, coming back home and showing my mom the video of what I've done, all of those aspects make me a finisher, I mean? All of those aspects instilled in me that I need to finish fights. And like, come on, who doesn't like watching a cool knockout? So it's a thing of it's just always been something that I've been born with. And as I've said again, my coach as well, my coach's style or the type of fighting that he's taught me is really emphasized on power and finishing fights, you know. Most people, when they hit pads, you know, they just lightly tap it, you know, there's a bit of head movement. But then when we hit pads, we give our whole heart and souls into it, you know. We put our everything into every single shot. We twist our hips violently, you know. You even hear the way we shout and we scream. We put our everything into every single shot. And that separates us from so many other athletes, you know, because we're so used to training at that intensity and that mentality of finishing the fight. When I actually do step inside the cage, finishing the fight becomes so easy because I have that natural instinct plus the training that my coach has given me. Those two aspects make me just a natural born finisher in my division.
Being 4-0 with 4 KOs in amateur
Mm,
MMA is rare. Three
mm.
first round finishes is even more impressive. That shows preparations, explosiveness, and confidence. It
Yes,
tells me
sir.
you don't waste time in the cage.
Yes, sir. We don't play fighting.
Do you plan to finish fights early, or does it just happen naturally?
Very good question as well. You know, each and every single time I've told myself I want to finish this fight early, the fight always goes the distance. You know what I mean? I don't know, for some reason, when you go looking for the finish, it just never comes. You know what I mean? Um, but when you know you relax, you trust yourself, you know, you trust the setups, you know, you trust the power that you have. The finishes just come naturally. So for me, when I go into a fight, I don't have the mentality of I need to finish this fight early. No. It's just a thing of I know that if I connect with a good punch, he's going to go down. It's inevitable. So I focus more on setting my punches up and landing the punch. Then I have that trust in my abilities and I have that trust in my power and my accuracy and my speed that if I do touch him, he is going to go down. So it has become a more natural instinct now as to unplanned finishes. First round, second round, 30-second. It doesn't matter, but I know that with each and every single fight I step into, the guy is gonna be unconscious on the floor. That's just how it is now.
I very good remember fight Conor McGregor versus
Mm,
Jose Aldo in UFC in 2016. Then
mm.
Conor knockout in 16 seconds. But in the future, you will break Conor's record.
Let's go. I 100% agree with you, man. We 100% gonna do it. I promise you that, Andre.
But a 30-second TKO is something fighters dream about. That's the kind of highlight that follows you for your whole career. Fans love it,
Mm.
promoters love it, and opponents fear it. I like it.
Yes,
What,
sir, 100%.
what exactly happened in that 30-second fight?
Oh man, that was a good one. That was like one of my favorite fights actually. So what happened was I was fighting in a division above me for the second time, I believe. Because normally I compete in flyweight, but then I had to move up to fight in the bantamweight division. Then my opponent was a very tall and lanky fighter. I believe he was about 6 foot or 6'1", and he was like so much taller than me, and I was so nervous for that fight. But then once we stepped into the cage, I felt confident, you know, I felt secure. Then what happened was he threw a first punch. Then from that first punch, I got his timing. Because what it is I'm a very excellent counter puncher. So after he threw his first left hand, I knew that okay, no, if he lets that left hand go again, I'm going to counter him. So I just waited for the moment. You know, I gave my head out a little bit. I dropped my lead hand to bait him in. Then he ended up throwing the left hand again. I took a step back and then I caught him with a very clean pull counter. So that rocked his head back extremely bad. After that pull counter, he was so dizzy and he was so out of it. I then took the opportunity. I then connected with a good hook cross, and he was on the cage, lying half dead. I threw a few good punches, and then the ref stopped the fight. 30 seconds flat.
By the way, do you remember fight Conor McGregor versus Jose Aldo? It happened 10 years ago.
Mhm. I do, I do. I've watched that fight so many times. It's actually very similar to mine. Conor had to step back, then he connected with the left hand against Aldo, putting him clean out. I actually really love Conor McGregor. He's my favorite fighter as well, actually. Oh, excuse me, he was one of the main reasons why I actually did start fighting. Watching Conor McGregor, especially in the beginning of my career, really helped me find my style and actually showed me or gave me the pathways to the type of fighter I want to be and the type of style that I want to have inside the cage.
In your opinion, who is the best in UFC history?
Oh, UFC history. Angie, you putting me in a very tough position right now, man. Oh, in the whole of UFC history.
Khabib Nurmagomedov, Georges
Hmm.
St-Pierre,
If I have to put a name on it, I feel like it has to be George St. Pierre because he's accomplished so much and he's defeated so many opponents as well. And he's had so many ups and downs in his career as well. But like he's always kept that dominant nature, you know what I mean? He never backed down from anyone and he fought everyone. So I think he has to be maybe number one. But then as well, I do have an argument with Demetrius Johnson as well. You know, he defended his flyweight title 11 times. He has a flying armbar for God's sake. And yeah, he fought everyone else as well. As much as I believe George St. Pierre is number one, I do think that Mighty Mouse has a very strong argument as well. The only problem is that people don't pay attention to him as well, because he fought in the flyweight division. But that's also what encourages me to be a finisher because Mighty Mouse and me fight in the same division. But what separates us is that he never really finished fights a lot. He was a very exciting fighter, but he always went the full 5 rounds. Everyone loves fighting, but no one wants to watch a 5 round fight. People watch fighting because they want to see a knockout. And that's what I give. Instead of letting someone watch a full 25-minute fight, people will come and pay to watch me fight for 2 minutes and then knock a person out. So that's what makes me special from other flyweights in my division. But sorry, to get back to your question, definitely Mighty Mouse and George St. Pierre. Those two have to be at the top pound for pound.
absolutely, absolutely, you are right. Georges St-Pierre, number one, in my opinion, number one in UFC history. Number
Mm,
two, in my opinion, Khabib Nurmagomedov, because he left undefeated, undefeated
mm,
UFC champion. A record of 29-0 is incredible.
mm.
You rarely see this in boxing, and in MMA, there are even more risks.
True, but then don't you feel like maybe Khabib retired a little bit too early though? Because he retired at a very young age, eh?
Yes, yes, young age, 20, maybe 39 years.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not too old, but then yeah, but he's also a very good fighter as well. How do you feel about John Jones?
Oh, John Jones, one loss
True, he did lose once. He did lose once. He did
uh,
lose once. That's true.
by disqualification.
By disqualification, yes. But do you feel like a loss making, after a person loses, do you think that it makes them not the greatest of all time anymore?
What do you think about fight John Jones versus Aspinall?
Ha 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 ha. That's also a very good one. I'm really not sure for that one because I mean he's John Jones, man. John Jones is a bad guy, he's a dangerous guy. you know, he has submissions, he has elbows, he has everything. But at the same time, Tall Espinal is young and he's hungry as well. He has the speed, he has the motivation. So I don't know, it's a really tough one to call. But then I'm always, biased. I actually don't know. Because I love Tom Espinal because he's a boxer like me as well. We're very similar style. He has quick hands, he has good finishes. But then John Jones is John Jones, man. So I really don't know. What do you think? Who do you think would win that fight?
But you were ranked 8th in your country and 14th in the Southern and East African regions. That's serious recognition for an amateur athlete. Rankings like that don't come easy. How did it feel seeing your name among the best in the region?
Oh, nah, it felt like a dream coming true, man. It felt like a piece of the puzzle is starting to connect because that's not something that happens to everyone. Not everyone can say that they were nationally ranked or they were ranked in the entire nation or they were ranked in the entire continent. Because at some points I was, a ranked fighter in my in the whole of Africa, not just in South Africa. So I feel like seeing that number and then seeing my name next to the number was like, oh my God. Obviously, I still have a far way to go, but then I've already achieved so much, and it gave me a chance to actually stop and be proud of myself. Because I feel like a lot of the times we overlook our accomplishments. We don't take a step back and actually appreciate ourselves. But seeing my name and that number next to it made me stop and be like, Sid, you're actually a really good fighter, and congratulations. And I'm so proud of myself for doing this. And I'm so proud of myself for how far I've actually come.
Right now, you are very, very hungry MMA fighter. You are not letting anything slip. How motivated are
Mm.
you to reclaim and improve that ranking on May
Ah,
13th?
oh, hell yeah, man. I'm so damn ready and I'm so damn hungry, bro. It's been a very long time since I fought in MMA because I did deal with some injuries and a bit of personal life issues. But then to step inside that cage, man, oh, I'm so damn ready for it. And I want to see a number one next to my name. Obviously, um, I'm not too off from making my professional debut, but then I do still want to achieve some things as an amateur. I still want to have a bit more recognition as an amateur fighter first. But then, yeah, man, on May 30th, I'm gonna be back. I'm finally stepping back in the cage, and just expect another body, man. As I step in the cage, someone is going to sleep, and I promise you, it's not gonna be me.
Holding the number one contender spot in the GFC flyweight division is huge. That means you are one fight away from something major. Pressure
Mm.
like that can either break or build a fighter. Do you feel pressure being the number one contender? Or on the contrary, no pressure, only hunger
Mm.
and thirst for battle?
There's no pressure. I feel like you already know the question. You already know the answer to this, Andre, man. I don't feel any pressure at all. The fact is, in my mind, I already think I'm the best. I already believe I'm the best. Only thing left that's left for me to get that strap now, man. And we're not stopping there. After I get the GFC belts, I'm gonna move on and get many more belts in amateur boxing as well, and even more belts in amateur MMA, man. I swear, all of them better be ready for me. The world is gonna know my name.
You remind me of Brock Lesnar. Eat, sleep, conquer, repeat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You see, you already got it, man. Let's go. I like it, Andrew. I like it.
But by only Brock Lesnar lost, but you don't lose. No.
Hell yeah, yes sir, I don't lose. I won't lose and I'll never lose, man. Simple as that.
Yes. Eat, sleep, conquer, repeat.
Repeat, let's go. Come on, man, let's go.
Brock Lesnar, he lost, but you never lose.
Yes, sir. As you said, eat, sleep, conquer, repeat. That's gonna be my new motto.
Or uh, feed me more, Ryback.
More. Oh, yes, you know, yes, sir, yes, sir.
You are also the current Titan Combat Featherweight title holder. That means success across weight classes and
Mm.
promotions. Very few fighters can balance that. Which title means more to you right now and why?
Oh man, that's a very good question. But then to answer, you, I think both extremely important to me. The Titan Combat one was a big one because I really put a lot into that fight. My training camp for that fight was really brutal. I went through hell and back inside that training camp. I bled a lot in that training camp. I cried a lot in that training camp. I went through so much preparing for that fight. And then to win the belt after that, it meant the world to me. But at the same time, to get the GFC belts as well would mean so much to me as well because, it's been a long journey, man. Um, Obviously, there's still so much I want to achieve, but then I've already been through so much as a fighter. I've already been through so many ups and downs. I've already experienced so much. So it's for me to claim another belt and to prove to myself, to prove to my coach, to prove to everyone else that, I am who I say I am. It means more than words can ever express. So to answer your question, every belt is important to me, equally as important to me.
Your achievements. You are very title MMA fighter right now, but your achievements across Exodus, Submission Kings, Boxing Kings, Springs MMA, Boxing for Change,
Mm,
and GFC show you compete everywhere. You are not choosing easy paths. Which
mm.
gold medal felt the most emotional to win? Because we like
Ooh.
sport for emotions. Tell me please about your emotions.
Mm. So that's also a very strong one, eh? Obviously, all my medals mean very important to me, but the Exodus gold medal, I feel like meant the most to me because, again, I fought in a higher weight division. And that was my first time actually, because at that time, even for flyweights, I was small. Because I weighed around 53 kilos, if I'm not wrong, 52 or 52 kilos. And I was fighting in bantamweights, which is 61 kilos. And then my opponents came with this whole team. He came with a crowd full of people, and they were making so much noise for him. And when he stepped in the cage, in the first round, he hurt me really badly. He took me down, he landed some ground and pound, and I was so scared. But then in the second round, I came back and I knocked him out. He's actually one of the first people that I knocked clean out. When I connected that, I dropped him 3 times first. And then the fourth time I dropped him, he was clean out. So my first time knocking someone out to the point where like they're completely unconscious was like a shocker to me. It was like, oh my God, I actually have the power to knock people out. I have the power to finish fights. Because I always cannot always, but like I do struggle with self-doubt a little bit here and there. And at that point in time as a fighter, I didn't really trust my power yet. I didn't discover the accuracy and the ability I had to finish the fight. So I was a bit nervous, I didn't believe in myself. But then after that fight, I knew that no, I am who I say I am. I am who I'm meant to be. I can finish fights. I can knock people out. So getting that gold medal meant the absolute world to me, and it's something that I'll never forget for the rest of my career, whether it's as an amateur or as a professional.
Being a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu blue belt while knocking people out shows real versatility. You can
Yes, sir.
finish
Yes,
on
sir.
the feet or the ground. That's dangerous. Dangerous machine.
Yes,
Beast.
sir.
Beast. Do you do you enjoy striking more or grappling more?
Oh, definitely striking, man. Don't get me wrong. I like the ground. The ground is cool. But then it's so cool to watch a knockout happen, man. Nothing is cooler than a knockout on you, I promise you. So my style is I get in the cage, I look for a counter punch, and I land a counter punch, and the guy goes to sleep. People try to take me down, but they can't take me down. And when they do take me down, I stand up immediately. Then I land a combination, I land a counter punch, and they go to sleep. That's how I fight. That's my style of fighting. The ground is good and all, but then nothing compares to landing a good knockout. I'm a knockout artist by nature, Andre. Simple as that.
You show the big drama show as Triple G in Prime Boxing, as Mike Tyson in Prime, as Deontay Wilder, Bronze Bomber in Prime.
Yes, sir.
You are
Got that right hand
very
on lockdown.
You are very, very dangerous. You are also 8-0 in semi-pro boxing with 5 KOs. That's a
Mm-hmm.
serious boxing background for an MMA fighter. Your hands must be a problem for opponents. How much has boxing shaped your MMA style?
Mm. That's a really good question. How much has boxing shaped my MMA style, Andre? So I see myself as a boxer that does MMA, not just an MMA fighter. My style is 90% boxing. I throw a few leg kicks here and there. I throw a few spinning back kicks, a few takedowns. But my main weapons are these two. You know what I mean? These two are the main weapons inside the cage for me. I always try to stand in the pocket, to find the angles and then to land either left hook or my straight right hand. The fists are the easiest way to get it done. I believe that my fists are where my power is at, my fists where my talent is at. So boxing for me has shaped my entire style in MMA. When I step in the cage, everyone knows that I'm stepping in the cage to put on a boxing masterclass. They know that when I step in the cage, people are gonna see a professional boxer at work. They're gonna see a boxing pugilist at work, boxing prodigy at work. So boxing has made my entire style in MMA. I am a boxer that does MMA. Boxing gets the job done for me.
Family. Family support matters a lot. Family is
Mm.
is all for us. Did your family support your fighting career?
Yeah, 100%. So with my mom, as I said, my mom took me to the gym on my first day. But then I feel like in her mind, it was just a bit of jokes, something to keep me busy. But after I heard my first fights, that's when my mom saw that no shit, my son is really capable of fighting. There's a real talent in fighting. And then she started seeing the people around me take me seriously as well. She saw my manager, she saw my sponsorships, she saw so many things going on, that happened as a result of my fighting. So she believed me 100%. She put so much time and energy and money into my career. She made sure that all my gym fees were paid. She made sure that I was going to the gym. She made sure that I was eating right. My mom is my biggest supporter. She made sure that everything was okay with me when it came to fighting. So yeah, she supported me 100%.
When did you first realize you were special?
Oh, when did I first realize I was special? Good question, man. When did I first realize that I was special? I feel like I first realized I was special was when I sparred my first professional MMA fighter. Oh no, my second sparring session actually. So what happened was with my first sparring session for MMA, I got the shit kicked out of me. Like they beat me up so badly, I did not want to come back. But then the second time I sparred, I beat the guy so badly that I knew that no, I am special when it came to fighting. I made the adjustments so quickly. I found the patterns. I found the angles. I did things that I wasn't even taught yet at that time. But to go from a guy beating me up so badly, so quickly, to me beating the guy up on the very next training session, led to me knowing that no, there are talented guys out there, but I'm way more talented than them. I'm way more special than them. And then the second time, or where it was more reiterated in me that I am special, was when was when my knockout streak increased. Each and every single fight that I fought, I kept winning by knockouts again and again and again. So it clicked in my mind. I'm like, oh wow, each and every single fight I do, whether it's boxing or MMA, I win by knockouts. Clearly I'm different than everyone else. What makes it even more crazy that in my division, no one knocks people out. My division is known for going 3 rounds, but then I still put people clean out. So I feel like seeing the results in my work makes it impossible for me to believe that I'm not special. So only thing that makes sense is I am special. I am different than everyone else. I am destined for greatness that nobody else has achieved yet.
Knockout, true knockout machine.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You said Brock Lesnar, eat, sleep, conquer, repeat.
Yes. Or Ryback, feed me more.
Oh yeah, man. Let's go.
This is awesome. Time is flying in this interview. It feels like we just started talking and we have already covered so much of your journey. I love
Mm,
moments like this because they show the human side of fighters outside the cage. Let's
mm,
switch gears for a second and talk about something every athlete and fan connects with soccer and the upcoming world stage. You,
okay.
soccer fan, I'm soccer fan. FIFA World Cup
Mm,
2026.
mm.
I'm personally supporting Argentina national football team in the 2026 World Cup. The reason is simple. Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi. He never give up. Argentina, they play with heart and they
Mm.
represent resilience on the biggest stage. That mentality really inspires me. Which national team will you be supporting at the 2026 World Cup?
Oh, Andrew, man. Oh, bro. I generally don't know where, you know, I've always just been the type of person to support, multiple people in multiple teams. I can't just say I'm going to support this one team, but then I am really looking forward to watching France play. The French players are always really interesting. They're, very wonderful and technical and gifted guys. So I'd love to watch France. I'm also really big on the English national team, the England one. Those really fun to watch. But yeah, those two, I feel like those two are the teams that I'm more or less rooting for to win the World Cup.
The French are powerful. A lot of cool players. Mbappe,
Mm-hmm.
Dembélé,
Mm,
Desiré Doué, Olise, Antoine
mm.
Griezmann, Rabiot. Wow, this is very, very powerful team.
Yeah. I think they're gonna get it this time, man.
The uh, Dembele, the Ballon d'Or winner.
Mm, just like that.
What do you enjoy the most when watching the World Cup? The games, the atmospheres, or the emotions?
Oh, I think it has to be the mixture of the intent. I think it has to be the intensity in which the players play, man. You know, playing for your club is good and all, but now you're representing your entire country now. So I feel like that intensity, plays with so many athletes' mind. So I feel like it's so interesting to see how different athletes adapt to it. Some athletes crack under pressure, but then some athletes, they rise to the occasion. So I feel like it's so cool to see how different players will react to different things. So seeing how some people upskill their level, how people upskill their skill level because it's the World Cup was really something cool to see how they play at an even higher level because they represent their country. It's something I really love to see in the World Cup. And obviously the emotions, man. People go crazy when it's the World Cup. Everyone likes to watch it. So I feel like watching that as well is also really cool.
Who will be the world champion in your opinion?
Ooh, I'm talking about soccer still. Definitely it's gonna be France. France is gonna take the cup. I promise.
French, in my opinion, French or Spain.
Or Spain, true. Spain is also a very good club, eh? They're very good players. I've seen Lamine Yamal going crazy.
Lamine Yamal.
Yes, sir, man. He's going crazy, man. He's so young as well, and he's been doing so many cool things. He's gonna be a very big problem.
And in the final part of our interview, I wanted to talk
Mm,
about your future in the MMA. We have talked a lot about your past and present, but what excites me most in your future? With the way
mm,
you are performing now, it feels like this is only the beginning. This is only the beginning. Fighters like you don't stay amateur for long. How do you see your MMA future in the next 2 years?
in the next 2 years. That's a very good question, eh? So I'm very torn in between going professional now. No, it has to be professional. In the next 2 years, I do see myself as a professional fighter with an undefeated record, probably around 3-0, 4-0 possibly, or 4 KOs as well. Uh, because yeah, as I said, I do still want to achieve something as an amateur fighter, but definitely within the next 2 years, I'll be making some noise in the world. They will know that, in Africa, there's this one dangerous kid who's knocking people out. I do believe that because of my style and my mentality, I am going to be different. My personality as well, the charisma, the knockouts, everything is going to lead to me being a future superstar. So I feel like in the next 2 years, Andre, many people will know the name. Whether it is in boxing or in MMA. Maybe both, who knows?
You finishing rate and titles already look like a professional resume. Many fighters go pro with less experience than you have. When do you think the right time will be for you to turn pro?
Mm. I feel like that's a very strong question, eh? Because, sometimes you don't really feel like you're ready. It's the same thing with anything in life. You never feel ready to do anything, you just do it. But I feel like yeah, you when the time comes, you just have to take that leap of faith, man, because I've fought before, I've had bouts before. So if I wanted to go professional, I could technically, but then it's all a matter of, God's timing. I believe when God intends for me to become a professional fighter, He's gonna show it to me. And then we're gonna take that step. But for now, God's timing over mine. We're gonna leave it at that. And when the time comes, just know that who I'm gonna be a dangerous man. I'm gonna be a very dangerous man when the time comes.
Feed me more opponents.
Simple as that. Feed me more, man. Feed me more.
Going pro is not just about skill, it's about maturity and timing. It's a big life decision. What
Hmm.
do you still want to achieve in amateur MMA before turning pro?
Okay, well, for me, what I still want to achieve in terms of being an amateur MMA fighter, I'd like to get more belts across different organizations. Um, there are very good amateur organizations here in South Africa. So I feel like getting my name out there a bit more, maybe traveling to different places and getting more belts is something that I really want to get. The biggest promotion in South Africa right now, Versus Promotions. I'd love to get on that program and get the Versus flyweight belts as well. My next mission is to get as many belts as possible within, the short amount of time I'm still gonna be an amateur. So get more medals, get more belts. That's my current goal. Simple as that. Make my name bigger, get more viral knockouts, look even prettier. Simple as that.
Some fighters rush into the professional scene, others take their time and dominate first. Your path seems very calculated. Do you feel ready for the professional level right now?
At this very moment, yeah, man, you could give me any professional fighter within my weight division and I'll knock their ass out. I will put them to sleep. Simple as that. I believe in my power. I believe in my speed. I believe in my accuracy. I believe in my skill. Nobody will be able to touch me. Simple as that.
You have already a champion and a number one contender. That builds serious confidence for the future. Do titles give you extra belief that you can succeed as a pro?
I feel like titles show you that you can achieve what you set to achieve, man. If you don't see results, then you lose motivation. If you don't see results, you lose that hunger, you lose that drive. So titles show that, you say you are who you are. Having a title means that you're the best, aren't you? So if you have many titles, what does that say about you? It means you're better than the best. So I feel like for me, getting as many titles as possible has personally been a very um big goal of mine. And I know for a fact that the more titles I get, the more confidence I get, the more my self-belief increases even more.
Go to sleep like a CM Punk. You send everyone to sleep.
To sleep, let's go. You know how it is, man.
Go to sleep like CM Punk. You send everyone to sleep.
100%, Andre, 100%.
Do titles give you extra belief? Sorry. What excites you the most about the idea of going pro?
Oh, okay. Number one would probably be the audience base. You know what I mean? When you're a professional, it's not just a small group of people watching you, but it's everyone watching you. So I feel like having that many eyes on me, is a really exciting thing. I can't wait to have not just a small room of people see me getting knockouts, but now the entire world is seeing me getting knockouts. The entire world is seeing me perform at my best. The entire world is seeing how great I am. Uh, excuse me. So I feel like seeing that publicity, that wide audience is something that I'm really attracted to. I really want that for myself. I get to inspire more people. More people get to talk about me. More kids get to look up to me. More people get inspired and see that no, I can achieve this as well. And then not to sound like a cocky bastard, but then the money as well, man. I want to start getting paid for knocking people out as well. So the higher I get, the more professional I get, the more money I get as well. Can't wait to get them bills.
Become UFC champion.
Yes, sir. That's gonna be the goal. That's the destiny.
You will be a UFC champion, and I will be a KFC champion.
Yes, sir. Let's go, man. Feed me more.
Yes, I will buy meat and cheer for you.
I'ma remember you, Andre. I promise, man. I'ma get you. I'ma remember that.
Every fighter dreams about big promotions and big
Mm,
stages. That's where legends are made.
mm.
Which promotion would you love to fight in one day? UFC or maybe another promotions?
Obviously, UFC. I feel like the UFC is the biggest promotion in South Africa. I mean, in the world. Sorry, excuse me. You know, everyone knows UFC. Even if someone is not really into fighting, everyone knows what's the UFC. So I feel like being UFC champion, even competing in the UFC itself, is the highest honor as an MMA fighter. Um, so that's the goal. You know, the UFC is the elite of the elite. You know, it's the cream of the crop. We're fighting in the UFC. The fact is, you're amongst the best of the best of the best of the best. So if I'm gonna be the champion in the UFC, that just shows that even amongst the best of the best of the best, I stand alone. I stand at the pinnacle of the sport. Um, and it shows that amongst the really good fighters, I'm the best. No one else is on my level. So yeah, UFC is the goal.
As CM Punk says, best in the world.
You know how it is, Andre. You know how it is, man.
Oi, I really, really like WWE.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell. I can tell. Now it's dope. I love WWE too, so we connect and it's good.
Turning pro also means building a legacy, not just a record. What kind of legacy do you want to leave in MMA?
That's a very good question. So what type of legacy I want to leave is I want to be known as a very I want to be known as a finisher, as a knockout artist, but as someone that made MMA look beautiful. You know, most people when they think of MMA, they think of two savages like two um muscleheads just throwing punches at each other. But then when I fight, people say I look beautiful. People say I look pretty. People say I look majestic. You know, people use such elegant words when they talk about me fighting. So I want to be known as a fighter that made fighting look beautiful, that made fighting look like an art. Not only that, I want to be known as someone who finished fights. I'm going to compete in the flyweight division, a division that's known for going the distance, a division that's known for no finishes. I want to be the outlier. I want to be different. I want to be known as a flyweight that could knock anyone out, a flyweight that can put anyone to sleep. I want to be known as the best to ever do it in my division. I want to be known as the best fighter that went down in UFC flyweight history. That's my goal.
Become a UFC champion in many weight categories, 3 or 4 categories,
Mm,
and
that's true. Why stop at one? We can go up and up and up and up and keep getting the knockouts. That's gonna be the goal.
become the best in history MMA. John Cena is the best in the history of wrestling. You will be the best in the history of MMA. You never give
Mm.
up like John Cena. Never give up.
Never give up, bro. We ain't never giving up. We ain't never stopping. We keep moving forward.
Your style is exciting and fan friendly. That's very important for a pro career.
Mm.
Do you think your fighting style is made for professional MMA?
I 100% think it is. Um, my style is very composed. I don't throw wild shots. I'm a very calculated fighter. I don't take any damage at all, and I'm very efficient. But at the end of that efficiency is a big knockout. I don't just try to go for a decision, but at the same time, I'm not a wild, chaotic brawler. I calculate everything that I do. I use my feints, I check my distance. I'm a new breed fighter. I'm such a calculated finisher that, the only few fighters that are like me. I'm a very new breed of fighting. So I feel like that is just me. I'm a new breed of fighter. Um, and yeah, I'm excited to see where I go. Simple as that.
The future is always built on today's work. Every training session matters. What are you focusing on right now to prepare for that professional step?
Simple as that. I feel like right now I'm really working on my takedown defense as well as my ground defense. Now that people know that I'm so deadly on the feet, everyone wants to take me down to the ground. So being able to hold my own on the ground is something that's very important to me right now. And also refining my kicks as well. As much as I'm a boxer that loves doing MMA, and as much as my fists are my main weapons, I need to be able to kick. I need to be able to throw leg kicks. I need to be able to throw body kicks, head kicks, spinning back kicks. So what currently developing those aspects in my game, but also increasing my power as well. I'm so young. I'm only 19 years old. I'm not fully developed. I'm not fully grown. So that means I'm still gonna get more power. I'm still gonna get stronger. I'm gonna be knocking people even more dangerously than I am now. So I feel like that's what we're developing. We're developing my body, getting it right, so that when the time comes for me to be a professional, one jab and the guy goes to sleep. One overhand right, the guy goes to sleep. One left hook and the guy is knocked out. That's what we're developing right now.
GTS, go to sleep.
Simple as that.
You know, sometimes I think fighters are philosophers who just express their thoughts with punches instead of words. And honestly, after learning you
Hmm.
speak, I feel like I am interviewing a thinker, not only a fighter. So here's a deep one to finish strong. What does being a fighter teach you about life that normal people many never understand?
Hmm. That is a very deep one, eh? Two things, two very important things. The first one is you can do way more than you think you're able to. A lot of people struggle with self-doubt. A lot of people go through life thinking that they're not enough. A lot of people go through life believing that they can't achieve great things. But when you become a fighter, you put yourself in situations that force you to level up, You end up achieving things that you never thought you could achieve. You thought you could only do a 5 kilometer run, but you could do a 15-kilometer run. You thought you could only do one round, but you end up doing five. You thought you couldn't knock anyone out, but you could knock a person out. When you're a fighter, you learn to depend on yourself. You learn to believe that you are capable of relying on yourself. You are capable of loving yourself and being able to trust yourself fully. That's, I feel like, is one of the biggest lessons that every fighter learns, is that you have value, you are dependable, you can do things. And then the second one is that even if you don't feel ready, you can still do it. Everyone goes through life in a comfort phase. Everyone is in the comfort zone. Everyone wants to feel ready to do something. But as a fighter, you don't always get that opportunity. You can have a 6 month training camp and still feel not ready for your fight. You can have a 2 week training camp and not feel ready for your fight. But the fact is, you're still gonna go in there and fight. You're still gonna go in there and spar. You're still gonna go in there and run. So you don't have to feel ready to do something. Feeling ready is just an illusion. Feeling ready is just something that doesn't exist. You'll never feel ready. So just do it. And you'll end up realizing that shit, I was ready to do this thing. And even if you weren't ready to do it, you still find a way to depend on yourself to still figure out a way on how to do it. So those two things are something that I think that most people will never understand unless they do take up the martial arts. And that's something that fighters really understand to the fullest.
I always believe that fighters live by a different code: discipline, sacrifice, and patience. You
Mm.
can see it in the way they talk and carry themselves. So let's go a bit deeper here. This is the part of the interview where you answer like a wise master from a movie. What personal rule or philosophy do you live by every day?
Oh, that's a good one. What personal philosophy do I live by every day? You only have one life. Make sure it counts. Be the best. You're only gonna live once. Tomorrow's not guaranteed for anyone. So make sure that you live each and every single day to the fullest. Make sure that you make yourself proud and you make yourself happy. But not only that, is be the best at whatever you do. I always strive to be the best in whatever I do. But not only do I strive to be the best, but I strive to be happy as well. Happiness is something that is really needed in this world for everyone. People go through life in a very sad phase, a very robotic phase, but then living a happy life while being the best, it's a recipe for a very joyful and fulfilling life. Simple as that.
You know, this is John Cena's crown phrase. The champ is here.
Hmm.
One day you will say, not just the champ is here. One day you will say that the UFC champ is here.
Yeah, let's go. 100%, bro. It's gonna happen, Angie. 100%.
And last questions. We have talked about titles, medals, knockouts, and rankings, but in the end, all fighters are remembered not only for victories, but for who they were as people. That's what truly stays in history. And this is the final boss question of the interview.
Oh, I'm so sorry about Andre.
Yeah, the champ is here.
Yeah, sorry, man. My connection just cuts out of nowhere, but then we're back, we're good to go.
It's okay. The final boss is here. Wrestling
Okay, cool,
WWE
cool.
WWE has its final boss, and it's a Rock, The Rock. The UFC will have its final boss, and that's you.
100%, man. Final boss. I like the sound of that.
And last questions. How would you like people to remember you when your fighting career is over?
Way. I'll not be remembered as someone who made fighting an art, who made fighting look beautiful. I'll not be remembered as someone who showed that regardless of wherever you come from, you can be the best. I want to be remembered as someone that is a good inspiration to other people. I want to be remembered. There's so many different things I want to be remembered as. It's not just a simple answer that I can give. It's not just like a one-word answer that I can give. There's so many things I want to be remembered by. But then, cut it short a little bit. I want to be remembered as a good inspiration. But then, the most important thing is to be remembered as someone who made fighting look beautiful. Um, Fighting is an art. That's what I truly believe. Um, and you're able to believe in yourself as well. Fighting shows you that you are capable of trusting yourself and depending on yourself. So being remembered as someone that could show other people that they can love, appreciate, and depend on themselves is something that I really want to work towards. I want to show people that no, you can fully depend on yourself and no one else. You need to be there for yourself. You need to be there to love yourself. You need to be there to trust yourself. So being able to leave a legacy like that would be really cool. Oh, and getting knockouts as well. I love knocking people out. So being remembered as someone that was good at knockouts, that would be really cool as well.
You know, when I watched wrestling as a child, I believed in the Shield. Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Seth
And
Rollins.
Seth Rollins, yeah, yeah.
I believed in the Shield. Now I believe in you.
Hell yeah, bro. I love that, man. I love that. That sounds so dope, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this interview. It was a good time. It was very nice.
I feel so appreciated. I thank you so much for giving me your time and allowing me to share my story with you, Andrew. It was a pleasure for me as well.
Goodbye, my friend. You are the
All
future of
right.
my. You are the
Yes,
future.
sir. See you soon. See you soon. Let's go. Let's go.
See you soon. Good luck.
Cheers. All right. Cheers.
Hands up. Yes. Gotcha. Come on, finish it. Come on. Come on, boy. Come on. One more kill. Go. No, hands up. Don't kick up. Yes. 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 Come on, champ. Yo. Come on, champ. Come on. Come on, champ. Come on.